Ken Trey here with Lenny Van Gilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout the metro New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. Super Bowl 50 is set between the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos. And Lenny, form held. The top 4 seeds made it to the conference championship games, and the 2 number 1 seeds are in the Super Bowl. So that speaks well to the seeding process and to the balance of the season.
And it's just like we told you it was going to happen at the end of last week. We said it would be Carolina, Denver, running game, defense, and defense in different ways. You know, Carolina, 7 takeaways. Denver just pressured Tom Brady and hit him again and again and again and again. And it was really a contrast in games, obviously, from that perspective. It was a thrilling finish in Denver. There was no suspense at all in Carolina. So it was, 2 different ways to go about it. I'm looking forward to this Super Bowl. I think this should be, a very entertaining game between 2 teams that, again, get it done a little bit differently on defense. Carolina led the league this year in turnovers and turnover margin. Denver led the league in sacks and in yards allowed. So it's a little bit different way to go about things on defense, and I think first team to 21 may win the game, but look, we've got 2 weeks to break that down.
We sure do, and of course a lot of local ties that bind. Trey Turner of Carolina, who's played extremely well out of St. Augustine and LSU, getting a chance to play in the big game. Denver has some team members in Lorenzo Doss and Tarian Nixon from Tulane. Of course, they have Peyton Manning from the Newman School, as well as Tennessee, and obviously a New Orleans native. So a lot of local ties that bind here, and last but not least, Wade Phillips, a former New Orleans Saints assistant coach and interim head coach, and one of the truly good guys in the business, getting to the Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator.
Again, interestingly, the first time around in Denver, he got to the Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator in his first year back in the 80s. Now he's back there, and he's back again. So another one of those stories. Like, Denver's there for the 8th time. Elway, Manning, some others. Now you go back to Craig Morton, but really that's, you're talking about the Elway era and the Manning era really kind of defines this franchise right now. And, Peyton coincidentally breaks his boss's record, John Elway, for the oldest quarterback to start in a Super Bowl, or he will in 2 weeks.
So many subplots to this game. We shall see how it develops. Obviously, John Fox, as you pointed out, is a great subplot. He coached both of these teams. In addition to that, Peyton Manning, the first guy to take 2 different teams to 2 Super Bowls. And now can he be the first to win one with a different team? Kurt Warner came very close. Peyton Manning will have that opportunity. On the other side, you've got Carolina and Jerry Richardson, a good man, and probably the 2 best players in the league at their positions, or on their side of the ball, I should say. Cam Newton, offensively, best player in the league this year. Luke Kuechly, defensively, best player in the league this year.
Certainly, and I wouldn't leave Von Miller out of the conversation with the way he has dominated, especially in the playoffs, and the interesting connection with those 2 guys, with he and Newton being 1-2 in the draft 5 years ago. It's like they made some pretty good picks there. Mm-hmm. Look, you're right. There are so many storylines. We got 14 days to get into this, and it should be a lot of fun. And obviously, I think we're going to see a lot of looking back as well, with this being the 50th Super Bowl.
New Orleans Pelicans matching their season-high 3-game win streak with a big win over over Milwaukee this past Saturday night. And, of course, the Houston Rockets are in town tonight, coming up in just a bit, and a chance to go to 4. First time this year they will have gotten there. 4 is the number right now that they occupy in terms of games out of the 8th spot in the Western Conference. So playing some good basketball right now, shooting the ball well, sharing the ball well, and they've held 3 straight opponents under 100 points to 99 points, in fact.
That's remarkable. And look, you needed to get some momentum going at this point, and we talked about it with the long home stand. A chance to kind of get some things going, the schedule lightening up a little bit, besides the fact that you're at home. Yeah, here's your shot. And look, the Rockets and, you got Memphis coming in next week are really the 2 biggest tests you'll probably have on this homestand. So if you can find a way to get those, it's 7-0 is not out of the question. You can't get to 7-0 unless you're 3-0, and you get to 4-0 and so on down the line. But the thing that's a little worrisome in this is you put together 3 wins in 5 out of 6, and you really haven't gained any ground. Still 4 games back from the 8th spot in the West. So, ideally, it's a long haul. We're just halfway through the season at this point, really just past the halfway point. but you'd like to see some ground starting to get made up too.
Yeah, Houston ahead of them. They get them tonight. Sacramento ahead of them. They get them later in the week at home. So an opportunity head-to-head to make hay. College basketball, LSU sneaks one out at Alabama. Tough place for them to win. They got the win. That's important to get it on the road, so it puts them back on track.
Yeah, Georgia coming to town on Tuesday, and then the big one on Saturday. Oklahoma, who at least started Monday number one. It's doubtful they'll be number one when the new poll comes out. Likely North Carolina will be the new number one team. But they're a fun team to watch, and I'm looking forward to that game on Saturday in Baton Rouge.
No question. High school basketball, and we got a big one coming up via sportsnola.com on Tuesday night that you want to watch, regardless of where you are around the country, because you'll get to see a two-time defending state champion in Landry Walker with 3 Division I players, at least, and a 7-foot center with an incredible future.
It's going to be fun. Landry Walker Chalmette figures to be a packed house in the parish for the 8-5A lead. They're the only 2 undefeated teams left in the league, and they're going head-to-head Tuesday night. We'll have it for you live here at sportsnola.com. Tip-off right around 7 o'clock. Tune in on the live games feature right up above there, and watch it. It should be a lot of fun.
And then wrestling on Wednesday night, 4-time defending state champ Brother Martin, winners of 16 state titles against Holy Cross, who's won the most in Louisiana history at 27 state championships. 2 of probably the 3 best teams, if not the top 4 teams in Louisiana, heading into the state championships coming up in Bossier in about 2 weeks.
Last real dual meet tune-up for them. Of course, you get the city championships coming up on Saturday, and maybe one more dual meet in between there. But this is really a big test for each of these teams, and it's senior night at Brother Martin. I don't care what the sport, how good, bad, or indifferent your team is. Senior night is always special as well.
Last but not least, the Senior Bowl this week, and that is a meat market for coaches looking to get hired, but it's a meat market to have players broken down individually by coaches that are watching, and that all begins today. So clearly in Mobile, it's going to be an enticing week for the Saints brass as well, picking 12th overall in the first round and taking a look at guys that they might prospectively have on board in the near future.
And there's 6 guys from Louisiana there. It's Louisiana colleges. You can throw in Dak Prescott as well as the Houghton native, the Mississippi State quarterback. But 3 guys from LSU, including one here from New Orleans and Deion Jones, looking to enhance his stock. Of course, Al Dupuis, in his first version of a mock draft, thinks the Saints could take Jones in the 3rd round. See how that all plays out. We know there has been a great history when it comes to the Saints drafting LSU players, just in terms of sheer picks, not good or bad, but let's see. I mean, look, it's a long way to go, and let all those draft pundits begin to count us down to draft day at the end of April.
There's a long way to go. There's a lot of work to do. We're close. Oh, no, I'm not going down that road. It's all good. Memories. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Have a great week.
See you later this week.
That's our first NBC Bank weekend review, call it what you want. It's a review. Our preview is coming up later in the week. I'll get it straight. And it's brought to you by First NBC Bank, 35 locations throughout the metropolitan area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. For Lenny, I'm Kenny. Have a great week, and God bless you.